Hi everyone, this is Miss Jess from Jessica's Art Studio, and today I have a project for you for my clay kit. Inside of your kit, you guys are going to find a bag of Sculpey clay. This is one of my favorite kinds of clays to use. It's super easy to use. It stays soft until you bake it. So the instructions are right on the bag, but when you're done sculpting your creation, you're going to put it on a tray, right, that has some aluminum foil on it, and bake it for 15 to 20 minutes at 275, and then it becomes hard and you can keep your art creation for a long time. So today I'm going to show you guys how to make this little tiny mushroom gnome home. So fun and literally so cute. I would recommend this project for someone who's really good with working with tiny things, right, on a miniature scale. Since we only have so much clay, I'm not even going to use my whole block on this. I'm maybe going to use about half of my block of Sculpey to make this today. Okay? Good if you have a little bit of patience, since you have to bake it and then, you know, paint it afterwards. Just give yourself a little bit of time to make this today. Okay, so let's dive in. I'm going to take my Sculpey clay, go ahead and open it up. If you want to make a second thing with your block of Sculpey, feel free to just take off a chunk for this project and leave a little bit for something else. So for example, I don't know, mine's going to be pretty tiny. I'm going to save about this much of it for a different project. Okay, set that off to the side. And then this is what I'm going to use for my gnome home. I might not even use all of this. So I'm going to start with my base, okay? Sculpey is going to be pretty firm when you first get it. I recommend using the palm of your hand, right? That's sort of the warmest part of your hand. And warming it up, squishing it for a little bit. The more you play with it, the softer it gets, and then the easier it is to sort of use and roll out, okay? For this gnome home, several parts we're going to make. We're going to start with the base, then I'm going to show you how to roll a flat slab that we're going to roll into the bottom part of our mushroom, and then finally we're going to sculpt a little triangle roof on top. So mine is definitely softening up. I think I'm ready to go ahead and make my base. Okay, I'm going to use maybe half of it for my base. Set this off to the side for now. Okay, roll a ball in your hand and then squish it like a pancake. Okay, from here, I'm even going to use my little roller. You guys have inside of your kits so many fun little clay tools that we're going to use today. You have a little tiny yellow one. You have a toothbrush that you can use to make texture. You can also use this for paint, which is really fun. And then there's also two wooden clay tools that you can use to make textures and designs on this. Feel free to use any of those tools today. I'm definitely starting with my little wooden roller. So cute, so small, and so helpful. So rolling it back and forth here just to make my slab nice and even all the way across. Doesn't hurt to sometimes pick it up, rotate, and go ahead and roll it the other way too. You don't want this any thinner than, I don't know, any thinner than a pancake, basically. We're not going for crepes, we're going for pancakes, okay? Alright, so this is going to be my base. Now, I'm going to do a very similar method to create the very bottom part of my mushroom here. I don't need quite as much clay, so I'm going to take a smaller chunk, like this, maybe the other half, roll it into a ball, squish it like a pancake. Finish doing this with your wooden roller again so that it's nice and even. Alright, the next thing I'm going to do is look for a sharp tool, like a cutting tool inside of my kit. And this is maybe the closest thing that I have to a cutting tool. It does have a nice sharp point on the end. I'm going to use that to turn this more into a rectangle, so I'm taking off those sort of rounded ends. I can save that to make something else. I'm just going to set it off to the side. Over here, my extra clay. Okay, I'm going to roll this out just a little bit more. Mine's still a little thick. Now, for the mushroom house, I do want to have almost like a little doorway that's open here, okay? So to do that, I'm going to make kind of like a cone around the tip of my finger, and then just kind of pinch the clay at the top. Okay, and that leaves a really nice little organic opening to the bottom of my mushroom, okay? To create the very top, little mushroom topper, I'm going to take another bit of clay. I always start by rolling it into a ball, maybe a little bit more. Depends how big you want the mushroom top to be. Okay, once I have a ball shape, I'm just going to sort of make the top part of it a little bit skinnier by really carefully putting pressure on it. See how it's turning into a little triangle shape? And I can flatten out the bottom by pinching around the edge. Okay. Alright, once you have the shape that you like, and whatever, maybe this one's really tall, kind of like a witch's hat. I'm going to go ahead and squish it right on top. Alright, so this is going to be my little mushroom. Now that I like the shape, I'm going to go ahead and add it to my base. Use your fingers around the bottom and kind of push those two pieces of clay together. Okay, once you bake it, they will sort of fuse together a little bit better, but it does help to push a little bit, give it a little pressure. Alright, the rest of the design is really up to you guys. I'm going to use some of my tools here, like for example my toothbrush. By pressing this into my clay, it creates sort of a rough texture, kind of like real grass. So I'm using that around the base. I'm also going to use one of my wooden tools here. Looks like it has like, it's almost like a fork. It has like 4 prongs. So I'm going to make a little walkway, scraping into my clay. I'm not pushing too hard, right, because I don't want to scrape my clay away, but I do want to make these indents so it sort of looks like a little walking path. Okay. To make bushes, right, kind of like this one here, and little flowers maybe textured along my walkway. Those are all done by rolling your clay into a small circle. Let's say I want bushes next to my house here. One circle there, need a little bit extra. Okay, other one here. My yellow pokey tool, just by poking it in like this and making a ton of little dots and little circles, it's going to start to give the texture of almost like a little plant, little bush. And feel free to experiment with your other tools too. If you can think of another way to make this look like a bush, go ahead. Okay, I'll do the same thing on the other side. All right. And then to do some flowers along the walkway, instead of rolling little circle, this time I'm going to take my clay and roll it into a worm shape, okay? You can also make worms by rolling it on the table as well. And then I'll line up my pathway like that. If I've got extra, I'm just going to take it off like that. Okay, and then the rest of it will go on this side. Voila. And then again, if I want to make that texture, I'll take my tool and poke it in. I could even make little windows in the side of my house as well, little tiny mushroom house. So once I'm done doing the flowers here, I'm going to poke that through the side of the bottom of the mushroom, and those will be like little windows. So for example, we'll take this tool, poke it through, and I'll hold it up here so you guys can see. Maybe there's another window in the back, and maybe one on this side, and maybe one right in the entryway. Okay, here's my little teeny tiny house. I'll show you on the camera here. How cute is that? Windows and around. Maybe I want to do bushes in the back here. That could be cute too. Okay, so whenever you're done designing this, right, take your time. I could get really carried away. You could add a little tiny chimney on top, little speckles or dots on your mushroom home. Maybe there's something else out front. You could make teeny tiny little chairs, okay? I'm going to bake this, so 275 for 15 to 20 minutes. Keep a close eye on it. If you have really skinny parts, those might cook faster than the really thick parts of your clay. So it's always a good idea when you pop it in the oven, just remember that it's in there and keep track of it, okay? Once it's baked, I'll check back in with you guys about painting it and decorating it. Alright, you guys, my clay has been baked and it is ready to go. I can finally paint it. Again, just as a precaution, do be careful when baking this. About 275, maybe 250 even, depending on your oven. I'm going to hold it up to the little camera here because you can even see on the very end of my little mushroom top, it did start to turn a little bit brown, and that was right at about 10 minutes. Okay, so I'm ready to paint. I'm going to be using acrylic paints today. I have my water and my paintbrush. Since this is a very teeny tiny gnome home, I would recommend using small paintbrushes. I have one here that is a flat top brush. And then I also am going to be using one of these, little pointed round brush. For the small details of mine. Start with the biggest sections first and then do your littlest details last. I'm going to do a little time lapse of me painting mine here. Enjoy this part of it, take your time, have fun, and then at the end I'll show you my final product. So look at, it's done. Look at how cute it is. You guys, no matter what, these turn out so adorable. I hope you have fun with this project. Just throwing an idea out there, if you want this to last for a really long time, it wouldn't hurt to put a layer of Mod Podge or some kind of like lacquer over the top of it to keep it really nice. Anyways, have fun with these. If you wanted to, you could probably even make 2 of these out of your 1 bar of Sculpey. So have fun, and I can't wait to see what you guys come up with.